Testing 1, 2, 3. Are we live? I think we're live. Excellent condition. We are live. Man. I just thought we were live, guys. I was like the last 15 minutes I was just going at it like I thought we were fully live, and then I realized I go to my YouTube channel, I'm like nothing. It's like nothing. Oh man. Anyways, let's try this again. I was I, I was talking to myself like a lunatic. But anyways. So, I'm going to break down how I made this render really quickly here. Again, motivated by a 30-minute session of just like, can I make a render in 30 minutes? And I did yesterday, and it came out like blah, right? Because it was 30 minutes. This is basically what I came up with. This was the raw render yesterday, right? And it wasn't nothing impressive, right? Just 30 minutes. The main goal was this asset here I had got from Max Hayes' free assets, and I converted it to Octane. So I was like, you know what? I want to just play with it, right? And quickly to show you the Max Hayes stuff, which I recommend you checking out. Max Hayes, here it is. Here is Max Hayes. If you do not know who he is, he's an awesome Blender guy. He makes stuff from Blender. So he has these free assets. They're made for cycles. So I downloaded this one yesterday and converted it to Octane. And I'm going to download these later on today. I've converted these buildings also, so I'm going to do another render with those. And yeah, I just converted them over. He has a course. Like, that's like about 150 bucks, 125 bucks. Probably well worth it. I'm just not buying any more courses because the last 4 courses I bought, I didn't even finish. So as penalty to myself, I am not buying any more courses until I finish the last 4 courses I have purchased. Like, I'm just kind of a junkie for buying courses. Like, I'm like, oh, I gotta go. So anyways, this was kind of the raw render. I didn't like it. I woke up this morning, I'm like, oh, this is horrible. Why did I even post that? Because whatever. So I went back at it this morning and played with it, mixed things up a little bit. Still not the best, but my main goal was I got sidetracked with the fog. Like, this fog looks meh. This fog looks much better. So what did I do to get this fog happening here? Because one thing that's, and this was the Photoshop version, the post after I grunched up in Photoshop trying to hide all this nonsense that was going on, right? So I want to basically break down how I got this. I really like the fog. I'm happy with the way the fog came out. So one more time before I get all into this and start talking to myself, is there anybody there? And if there is, can you just give me a thumbs up to let me know the stream is live? Give me an emoji, just a pulse. If there's anybody out there with the pulse, that's all that I'm really concerned about. Right? Matter of fact, let me just quickly. Hey, LOL, I feel you. Oh, Agent Rat, you're there. Okay. What's up? I think I need to turn on my chat because your comments didn't pop up. They didn't ping pong. Make sure that's turned on. Ping pong, that is turned on. What's up? Agent Rat, we're here. All right, good. Dude, I was just going at it like blah 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 blah. I did this and this, and I'm like, it's awfully quiet. Stream's not even on. So how did I get this fog going here? Here's the scene. Very simple scene. Actually, it was really fun. I like the 30-minute challenge. Like, it was really fun. I had no plans on posting anything. I just wanted to make it. And matter of fact, I didn't even save it until literally I rendered it, and I was like, ooh, I never even saved it. Because I wasn't going to save it, really. It was just playing. So I ended up keeping it because I like the way the fog came out. And I'm glad I kept it. So I've got the, to water this scene down really quickly and show you what's going on here. And then I even took a little bite from Max Hayes' how he has, I noticed his UI, he keeps it here in the corner, which I actually like because it's so small that I can leave it on and it doesn't lag my viewport out that much. And I've got fog in here too, right? So it's pretty handy. Like, I like his setup here. This up here I gotta worry about figuring out what am I gonna do here. Actually, yeah, we got that open here. Okay, so if I was to basically take out the fog box, boom, this is what it looks like. Horrible. And I have this light here. This light is cranked up to like 4,000. Yeah, 4,000 black body emission, 5,600 on the, so it can cut through the light. If I mute this light here, you'll see this is the world lighting. This was the actual world lighting here that I'm using, which was nice. I like this, and I wanted to have the fog interact with this, but as soon as I brought the fog in with this world lighting here, like it was just heavy. Like boom, now it's like dark and dusty, and like, okay, I was like, man, that's not enough. So I was trying to crank up the world lighting, and I just didn't like the way it looked. So I ended up just bringing in a light because I wanted to have that a little bit of like some God rays effects coming in there. So when I brought in this light inside the actual fog box, which is right there, it started happening. I can kind of see a little bit of like, you know, some rays right here coming off the edge right here. You can see a little bit right there. Okay. Now the settings for this fog box, it's a pain. It's not a pain, but there is no magic number. That, like, it depends on the size of your box. It depends on the scale of your scene. So these numbers are gonna, like, I tried to take this same fog box and bring it into a new scene and try to recreate it, and like the numbers were way off. So it's really scene dependent, right? So to show you my setup right now with this fog box, we don't need these. All these assets were pretty much Megascan assets, just thrown around with Megascan textures. Here's what I'm doing. I have a box. Here's my box, and again, playing with the way the box was, like I kept seeing like the corner of the box in the background, so I had to stretch it, get the size right. I have a specular material on it. The specular material, you set the reflection to black. Make sure the roughness is set to 0, because if you set it to 1, this happens. Watch. Like, it gets weird. Like, it doesn't work properly. So trial and error, set that to 0, and then I play with the index of refraction. I have it at 1.2. I can't really see the difference between that, but I have it at 1.2. So I'll have to further test that out. And then from there, pretty much everything else is stock. Now I add in this medium right here on the specular material, and I'm using scatter. Before I used to always go value medium, but I'm noticing scatter works a little bit better. Okay, and on the scatter, what I did was here, I changed the values, because if you bring in a scatter by default, let me show you what it looks like. I did a lot of tweaking on this here. So we bring in our medium, scatter, right here, scattering. That's what it looks like when it comes in by default. Okay, and you're gonna be like, oh, this is dumb, it doesn't work, because when you do it in cycles, it looks already kind of ready to go, right? It doesn't work like that in Octane, fortunate. So I turn this to white, and actually not even really, like, we'll see what I'm gonna do in a minute. And then the density is way too hot, so 0.1 is my go-to right off the back, and then even 0.1 is still hot, right? Like, it's way not enough. So what I started to do was, I noticed I set the volume step 100, maybe 12. I don't really notice the difference. See, I don't really notice the difference. So I guess we could leave that at 100 for now. But now we see that we can't see to the back. Like, it just doesn't look right. This doesn't look like fog. So what I ended up doing was I started playing with these values, and I went to black here for a minute, and then it kills it. And then look, you can see the box. This is the top of the box right here, the volume box that we're using. So it's kind of like this weird little thing going on, right? So then I started playing with this and just creeping this up, just ever so slightly, just creeping it up. Like, okay, like what happens if I get like a gray value or something? And then I notice, okay, well now the background is starting to get a little bit more foggier back there. I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of working. Like, so just creeping this up, I noticed that was happening. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So then again, what was my value? 0.05. Okay, so then I half this, and it was just a lot of trial and error, going back and forth, trying to find what was a good setting that I liked. Actually, I'm gonna go back to 12 on that just to see. Okay, that's getting a little bit better. And what else did I change? 12.05. Actually, no, 0.05. 0.05. Okay, 0.05, it's a little bit thicker now. And you see why that light has to be so bright to really cut through the fog here. And I'm also using denoising on that too, guys, so that's why it looks a little bit crappy. So that was kind of like the settings that I got. And then I remember from one of my lessons that I watched, I went back and watched one of my YouTube videos, this slider right here, this will basically tell the fog that to be stronger at the light source or be stronger just in general, right? So what I do is, like, if I add this in here, this phase, we click on this and it's going to bring in this node here. And right now it's like, it's kind of like evenly distributed in the world. But if I take this and go like, bring it all the way to like was it 0.7? Let's keep going. Now 0.8. Now my light source is over here and you can see the fog is really heavy at the light source. So that lets us know that's where basically the fog is really the strongest, at the light source. So you could do something like that, or if you go opposite, let's go opposite. It's giving a more evenly dispersed kind of like haze fog feeling. Actually, that doesn't look too bad, right? That looks really nice right there too. So I kind of did like a happy medium in between. I kind of went like 0.02. Remember, 0 in the middle is neutral. So I'm having it just lean a little bit towards the light source, because like in nature, if you're looking up at the sun, it would kind of, or it will be a little bit stronger where the sun would be, right? So that's basically how I got that fog effect set up now. Now, let me go ahead and plug this back in. This is awesome. I really need to work with the fog system. It's a little bit of a pain, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it is easier in Cycles to set up fog. No lie. Not even night and day difference. But what if you could understand how the Octane works, it will be more powerful because you have more control. And we have so many different types of scattering I can use. Like I said, this is using scattering. Let me show you the way I used to do it. I used to always just use volume. Hang on, let's look at the difference with volume. Now if I come over here and go to medium, and I'm going to go to volume medium node. Okay, again, it goes dark. That's okay. Let's try to do the exact same values. 0.05. All right, and then again, we need to change our black scattering right here. I'm going to change, actually, I'm going to do the same color. Drag that onto here. All right, and then I'm going to change this value to 12. Interesting, that almost looks the same. Like, let me just duplicate this. Plug this into there. That is how I would do it with the medium, right? Like, here it is. They look the same. Like, I don't really see a difference. Ultimately, you would need to, I will need to render it out to see what the difference will be. But there it is. Matter of fact, hang on. I'm just going to do a quick screenshot right here while we're at it. And then I'm going to plug in the scattering. Let's let it render and let it denoise. All right, now I'm going to take a screenshot. So this, okay, good. Now, one was the volume and then 2 was the other one. Ideal. I can't see the difference. I see no difference. Like, I'm looking back here into the distance. Whoopsie. Well, come on. Yeah, I see no difference. Plus, it's being denoised really bad, so it's kind of hard. Huh. So there it is. You can use either or. You can use either or. So now what I want to do here, and that's pretty much the scene. Then I just rendered it out, took into Photoshop, did a bunch of stuff to it. But now what I want to do quickly, I don't want to save the file. Let's rebuild this, just in this scene right here, really quickly. So let's drop in a plane, because this is how you get. This is how I basically get better. Like, I just try to keep repeating this so I know the steps. Here's our plane. Let's turn on. What do we got here as far as lighting? What is my default setup? Okay, I'm gonna kill the world. Visible environment, child environment. We're gonna kill the world, 0. We're gonna add in a box, a cube. I'm gonna scale this cube up like that. Actually, just go to this mode here. We're gonna scale the cube up, right? I'm gonna go GZ it up like that. Scale to X, scale 1 to Y, something like that. GY. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is, so I can see what's going on, I'm gonna go to viewport display, turn that to wired. Then we're gonna add in a Suzanne head. Suzanne, GZ it up. I'm gonna rotate it something like that, right? Boom. And then what we're gonna do is add in a light. Light, area light. We're gonna add in a area light, GZ it up like that. I'm gonna scale it up a little bit like that, and let's jump in here. Now that's another thing, camera placement. I think the camera needs to be in the volume box because it was getting some weirdness when it wasn't inside of it. Okay, now we're inside the box. Let's go ahead and get our camera locked in like that. See, now the camera is outside of the box right now. And let's come back onto my cube, scale that up a little bit more. Okay, boom. Now we got that completely engulfed. Unrelated, but I'm really getting into 3D scanning because of the video about the stairs you were outside your apartment. Yeah. Dude, I have a whole bunch. I have all my scans that I do. I upload them for free on the Sketchfab. So you can download any. I have a whole bunch of scans that on my old phone that I still have to take off and upload to the net. I love scanning. If it's a cloudy day, I love going out and scan. I look like an idiot. People are like, "What's this guy doing?" Like, I'm with my phone doing all this. But Bad, what's up? What's up? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, all my scans, guys, I put them up there for free. You guys can download them. Yeah. Before I started, before I moved to this new apartment, I was scanning like every day on my morning walk. Anything that I found, if it's a cloudy day, I'm trying to scan something because that's the perfect weather to scan on a cloudy day. I'm planning to do that. Yeah, I use my cell phone. I use Reality Scan on my cell phone, and then I also have Reality Scan on my computer. Reality Scan is free from Fab, but you need a GPU in order to run it, and it's like it takes a long time. Like, I don't really scan too much on my computer, like meaning like take a whole bunch of photos and then upload them onto Reality Scan because sometimes it can take an hour, and like I'm always on my computer. What was I looking for? On my Sketchfab account. Yeah, I love 3D scanning. Even on my old laptop 1050 Ti, I used to try to do. I used to use Reality Scan on my laptop, and I'm talking about it would be like 12 hours trying to process it. Like, I would just leave it and go to work and come home at 9 at night, and it's still crunching on the scan. It was fun. But I should do it more now because I actually have the computing power to do it now. So yeah, one polygon with me. I'll drop the link in there for you guys. It's a great way to build your own assets too. Like, build up your own asset library. So here's some of my scans, like this coffee shop. Like, this is when I said people were looking at me all weird because it was like, I knew I wasn't going to be going to this school anymore. It was my last day at this school, and it's kind of far from where I live. So I always pass by this coffee shop, and I'm like, man, I really want to scan this building. So I just started standing there and Put my phone in and wait for people to pass. Okay. Owner kept looking outside like, what's this guy doing? Which one? Hassan, what up, brother? The living legend, Hassan. Guys, definitely take a look at his YouTube channel. Another fellow Blender Octaner YouTuber. We are on a mission to get its due justice of Blender Octane. Which one is the best GPU for Blender and Octane 2025? Any one that you can get your hands on. Any GPU you can get your hands on. I wouldn't say that at the moment, because I was reading on the forum they were having driver updating issues with the 50 series right now. So, and that happens with anything new. You're gonna have driver issues. You gotta wait for the softwares to catch up. So yeah, I already heard people on the Octane Blender Facebook group were complaining that we're having issues with their 50 series because of drivers. I'm a 4080 Supra. 4080 Supra. So even if I had the money to buy a 50 series, I would still buy me a 4080 or 40. I would just buy me a 4090 because it's been out, it's been proven, all the bugs are out, and I will give another year and a half for the 50 series to flesh out all those bugs, let softwares catch up with the drivers, because you're not even going to be able to utilize it to the max, because everybody's trying to catch up. Most people can't even get their hands on a 5090 yet, At least in Japan, you can't even get a 5090. Like, when they come, they're limited numbers and they're sold out immediately. I would love to use a 4090 instead of it. Matter of fact, if I have to buy one, I will buy a 4090, because I was going to buy the 4090 before I bought this 4080. But at that time, I was like, an extra $1,000. I'm like, yikes. The 4090s were still pretty expensive at that time. And I'm like, I can't afford that. Even though it was the render network helped me, but I was like, you know what? I'd rather take that money and use it towards my community. So I think I actually did a render with this scan. It's not the best. Like I said, I couldn't get in too close and get details on it, but I did make a render. Like, it was kind of like in the forest, dilapidated coffee shop. Some of these scans in here are just absolutely amazing that other people do. Again, this is another scan here. This one actually came out pretty nice. And this was all shot on my Samsung Note 8, guys. A very old phone. Samsung Note 8. Right? Like, poor little phone is still hanging tough. Yeah, man. I had my laptop GPU. Even the guys from OTOY were like, dude, how are you even rendering anything? I'm like, it works. It takes a long time, but it works. This massive gotcha wall. This is a real thing. Yep. So this was another very clean scan here too. This was next door to one of my kindergarten schools. I said I was gonna go back and finish this scan and like come back and get the ceiling, because you can do that. You can take like one scan and then you can come back, set of photos, and it'll put the scans together if you use it on the computer. But I never went back and shot that again. I pass by that every morning on my walk. Then I was trying to do some ground scans here just to get it some grounds. Yeah, it's because I'm on this website here, because I'm trying to look. So there's all my scans. Ooh, that was a really good scan. This one it was late in the evening on a cloudy day. Nobody was around. That was a great scan. Yeah, it's because I'm on this website. So let me stop doing that. All right, but anyways. So definitely check out these Max Hayes assets. They're really cool. So let's get back to our fog here. The stream should even out now that I'm not uploading stuff and messing around. All right, so box fog. How were we doing this again? We're trying to get some fog in here. So I'm going to come here. Let's go back to our box. camera settings, and kind of do something like that, right? Now, right off the bat, we don't see any fog happening. So what we need to do, I'm just going to try to repeat that same setup that we had in the other fog box. I'm going to go to cube. Yeah, it's stabling out now. Good. Add in a material. I'm going to delete this material. I'm going to add in a specular material. I need suggestions on this post. I need suggestions on this post. What post, bro? Which one? Specular material. Surface. I need suggestions on this post to improve more. Reflection. Make sure you turn the reflection to black. Hassan, how do you make fog, bro? I like to know, how do you make fog? Do you make fog with the fog box? I've been playing around with fog. What else we did? We went to, okay, that's set to 0. I'm going to set this to 1 this time. And then I'm going to go into medium. Then we're going to do, I'm going to go with the scattering again. And then we're going to change this to point, or what? Well, let's just go to 0.1. I think that's going to be my default starting position for now. 0.1. Change this from black, otherwise we won't see it. And there it is, guys. There's the fog starts to kick in. Nice. Okay. Again, I want to go to 12 on that. I don't know if that makes it. I got to read up about what this volume step is doing. Volume step percentage. Volume step percentage. I need to figure out what that is doing. Volume step percentage. Hang on for a second, guys. Volume step percentage. Volume step percentage. What does volume step percentage do on the scattering node? Volume step controls the resolution of ray matching through the volume. Lower value gives you finer detail but increases the render times. Lower value gives you finer detail but increases the render time. Open up your scatter medium or your volume node. Locate the volume step parameters. Understand that 100% uses the default setup in the kernel settings. Reduce the value to 25%. I'm Hassan. I'm Husan? Husan? Hassan? Hassan and Husan are different names. Okay, sorry. Nani? Hassan and Husan. My teacher's name is Hassan Omar. Arigato. You also know him. Ah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Sorry, bro. Okay, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I'm sorry. Okay. I got you. I'm totally misunderstood. Okay. I got you. The 25, lowering this, understand that 100% is default. Reduce the value to 25% to increase sampling density. This captures smaller volume details like wisp or tight fog curls. Increase the value to 200% to speed up your render times at the cost of more detail. Okay. So that is basically like controlling the detail level of the lower value. Lower values increases render time, but you get more detail. So if I go to 400, it's going to render faster and we'll get less detail. Let's go back to 100 first, okay? Because there's nothing really detailed about what we're trying to do right now at the moment. So now if I want to get this beam to be a little bit more pronounced, I'm going to click on the light and I'm going to go to the size and I'm going to go ahead and bring this down like to something smaller, like 0.3. Let me turn off the glare. Post-processing, turn that off for now. Okay, so now we got a little bit more sharper beam, and then also we can crank the light up a little bit more too. Let's go like 500. It's a lot more hotter, right? Let's see if we can bring this guy down a little bit more. Bring this up here a little bit more, GZ. Light, GZ. What I want to see now, if we can get some, if we can see some rays off of Suzanne, or do we need to go smaller on the light? Let's go all the way to 0. I can see a little bit right there. Let's let the render kind of render in. Now, what if we come into, back to our volume, and let's go, let's bring this down, back down to 12 like I had it before. I wonder if we can visually see the difference, or is it just going to be a render type thing? Hey, how did you make that node set up again? I'm trying to do it in my scene. I didn't catch up. The fog node setup? The fog node setup basically made a cube, and this is the setup that I got going right now. You got your specular node. Just bring in your specular node and change the reflection to black. We don't want to see the reflection, or I don't know, just make the reflection black. Then after that, make sure the roughness is set to 0. I changed the index of refraction. I don't know if it's going to make a difference yet, but I changed the index of refraction. And then you're going to add in a medium node. You click right here, press this button, and like I showed you before, I guess you can choose value medium, or you can use scattering. Right now I'm going to use scattering. I do need to test render these out to see which one is faster. And then once you get the scattering node, the value is going to be set to 100. That's going to be, it should look black, basically dark, like that, right? So what I do is I go 0.1 just to start off to get it down to low, and then you still won't see nothing. You'll still see just black. It'll look like this. Oh, it's a specular material. That's kind of odd. Yeah, it's a specular material. Because in Octane, that's how we make subsurface scattering and all that, and volume and all that is used with the scatter node, right? Once you add this scatter node in, it should be black. And then once you change this from black and slowly slide this up, you'll notice now you'll start to see the fog come in. All right, so like this is very much right here how you're really controlling a lot of it. And then if we go to absorption, even absorption is making an effect. Look at absorption. When I go to black, look at the background. If I go to white, now look at the background. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got a lot of control. It's confusing in the beginning, but now that I think about it, we have a lot of control. Like, you can really dial in what you really want to, the look that you really want to get. And again, you can also change these colors, right? Look, see, that's going to affect everything too. But I don't want that right now. And then I just read up, this volume step is set to 100. Now this is going to basically control the detail of the fog. So in our case, we don't, but if there was like swirls or wishes or something in there, this will control the detail. The lower the volume, the fog is more detailed, but it cranks up render time. The higher the value, it less details and renders more quicker, right? And it's probably the same for volume shadow, which I don't ever change. I just leave that normal. But also, when you click on your Octane light, when it sets by default, it's going to be like 1, right? To get more like God rays, you need to take the size down. like you bringing the size down is basically like, you look at my shadow. Look at my shadow on my Suzanne head when I bring the shadow. Look at that. Boom. That's how you control the spread. Like in cycles, you control the spread. Like if you want soft shadows, you make this bigger. If you want smaller shadows, you make this number lower. But look, it doesn't affect brightness. It doesn't. It's just affecting, look, the edge on that shadow, right? So I'm going to go really harsh. Like something like that, okay? Now, if I come back underneath here, we should start to maybe even see some, there we go. Now we can see some God rays. Look at that. You can see some God rays right there. Perfect. Let me get the camera in that position. And my camera, let's go like a 28 millimeter. Back that off a little bit. That's pretty interesting. All right. Suzanne. Now what I wonder is if I... Okay, hang on. What's my settings? I'm going to use my stock settings right now. 500 samples at 10. Let's just leave it this, and I'm going to quickly... I want to render something. I just want to render it really quickly. Ah! Crashed. Well, that's my fault because I didn't save. And I notice it crashes when I don't save. So it has to do something with not saving. I don't know. But that... I gotta get some water. Oh, I got water right here. Gotta love it, blender. But that's okay, because I'm gonna do it one more time and I gotta go. So let's set that up really fast now. Quick run through how to set up a fog box in Octane. Here we go. Timestamp for me, 37 minutes, so I can... Oh, we got time. I got an hour, 37 minutes. Okay, how to set up a fog box in Octane. Let's add in a ground plane. Scale it up. Let's add in a light. Area light, mesh light. Boom, there. Oh, no, not a mesh light, undo. Scale the ground plane up. Add in a light, Octane area light. There's an add-on that reminds you to save if you didn't save. Well, I have power save. Well, power save will save a copy. Right here, power save will save a backup copy, but you need to save it at least once for power save to start working. And I never saved it at all because I didn't really, you know. But yeah, power save right here. Automatically saves every 3 minutes or 2 minutes, or you can change whatever time you want. Yeah. And actually, I probably could have went to recover. Hang on, recover last session. Don't save. Nope. That was the last saved session. So technically, yeah, that is right. That was the last saved section. But anyways, let's quickly do this. I'm gonna set up this, bring up this plane, come in here, add in a light, Octane area light, GZ it up, right? We're gonna use Dennis this time, bring him in, GX. Actually, no, he doesn't show up in the renders, he only shows up in the viewport. Let's just add in a Suzanne head, Suzanne head, right? Shaded smooth, boop. Shaded smooth, GZ it up. I'm gonna rotate it like that, something like that. That's cool, right? Turn on our render. Let's see what that looks like. Zero out our world. Let's go to visible environments. No, just go to environments. Take that, put that to 0. There's Suzanne in all her glory. I'm gonna kill post processing. Boom, there's that. Then what we're going to do is add in a cube. This is going to be our fog box. Scale that up. Make sure your camera and your light are also inside of the fog box. Then what we're going to do is click on our cube. We're going to add a material to it. And then on this material, we're going to delete the universal. We're going to add a specular material. Specular material, bring that in. Then what we're going to do is change the reflection to black. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure roughness is set to 0. It is already set. Then we're going to go to medium. I'm going to add in a scattering node. Everything goes black. I'm going to change that to 0.1. And then from there, I'm going to take the black scattering and bring it up to white. And slowly we should start to see some fog happening. And yes, we do. And already the fog value is totally different because of the scale of the scene is different from the last one. So it's not that bright. So I'm going to take my light. I'm going to crank up my light to 500. Double the light power. There it is. And again, if you want to see the God rays, we need to make our light source smaller, because that's how you get sharper shadows, right? And you need to make sure you're in the path tracing render engine. It doesn't work in direct mode. In direct, see, make sure you're in path tracing kernel, and then we click on our light, and we're going to bring the scale of our light down so we get harsher shadows. Matter of fact, I'm going to go all the way to 0 just to exaggerate this. And then let's let me bring up my light a little bit. GZ, bring up Suzanne a little bit too, and let's kind of just rotate so we can get an interesting play on the shadows. I'm going to bring my camera right there. Grab this, grab Suzanne. I'm gonna actually kind of looking up towards the light, something like that. Kind of back it up. Oops, now keep my camera inside the box. Maybe something like that. Unlock my camera. Click on my light. Let's go to 800, make that brighter. Oh yeah, this is why it wasn't working for me. I wasn't direct. Yeah, you gotta be in path tracer, right? I should have mentioned that too. That's kind of my fault. Light here, can I scale that up? Yeah, we can scale that up. Makes it a little bit brighter, right? And we're starting to see a little bit of some God rays right there. Let's bring down the light maybe a little bit closer to Suzanne. We might get stronger rays. I don't know. Let's see. Right. Again, I don't want to see all of this outside of the viewport. Control B, render viewport only. Actually, no, I don't want to do that because that does, yeah, oh, that works. Okay, this rendering, that looks a little bit more cleaner. Look at that. Yeah, nice. Also, let's click back on our cube, on our Fogbox cube, and now we can start to really like dial in your settings. You could play with this and try to just, ooh, that looks like the rays are way more predominant right there versus right here, right? So like, I'm liking bringing this down a little bit. Maybe we should bring this up a little bit more. I'm liking that. What if we go extreme? Let's go like full black, full white. It looks like it's not working that much anymore now, so I'm just gonna kind of back that back off and back this back off. I like that. Let's click on the light again. Let's make the light even brighter. 1000. Okay, we're getting some nice God rays right there. Now I'm gonna click back on my fog box. I'm gonna actually go back down here. I'm gonna go to let's say 10. Okay, I'm gonna stop the render. I'm gonna quickly save because I want to render and see what the difference is. Let's put this in fog play. Fog play. Okay. Saved. I'm going to render this really quick. Oh! What's going on? What's going on, guys? Oh, now it doesn't even want to start. Now it doesn't even want to start. Like now Blender doesn't even want to start. Now this used to happen to me even when I used to use cycles sometimes. And this I think has to do with like Windows not liking something that Blender's doing in the background. This used to happen to me too. This happened to me using Octane and cycles. Not just, I think this is a Blender thing. Let me kill my server first of all. Because sometimes I would kill Blender and then like Blender would still be running in the background even though Blender wasn't on. It would still show it in the task manager. I wonder if OBS is doing something too in the background that Blender doesn't like right now. Crashing is love from Blender Octane. Crashing is love from Blender. That's because it's free, so like we can't complain. Like that's just to humble us. Like, hey, it's free. Let me reboot my server. This is my last attempt at this. Good call. I forgot how to do that. Yeah, good call. Isn't there a way I can do that in Blender, or is that like... Because typically when it would do this to me, I'll just restart my computer and then everything will be fine. But we're streaming right now, so I don't want to restart my computer. Uh, dude. In Windows. Windows R. You mean Windows Run? Or run the run menu? I think that's what I just did. Oh, yeah. I already have it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I just did it right now. See, win percent, and then I also come in here. Yeah, I have all of them already preset because I actually I haven't did that in a very long time. So nope. Nope. I think it just wants to restart. Yep. I think it wants to restart. Yeah, I did both of them. Did I do prefetch? I don't remember. No, I didn't do prefetch. I think I only did 10% in temp. No. Yeah, it wants to restart. Yeah, I have to restart. Yeah, because typically when I restart, and I think maybe OBS is holding on to something too in the background. Because most of the time this happens when I'm recording a video, like when I'm recording screen recording. Yeah. Sweet. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging. It was cool to hang, and yeah, I'm trying to make this more of a habit now. Trying to stream. This is 3 days in a row now, so this is actually going good, and the stream actually settled out a little bit better. So we'll tomorrow I'm gonna try again for tomorrow at the same time around 10 or 11. It's tough on the weekends though for me because my daughter, when she hears me talking, she wants to be on stream, so she always will come in the room and bug. So thanks guys for hanging, and yeah, we'll keep playing. I'm gonna probably start converting a bunch of those other assets from Max Hayes. Definitely take a look at that, guys, and get you some free assets. You just got to give your email, right? It's not a big deal, but he's got some really cool stuff, and you should check out his YouTube channel because it's awesome. These streams are fun. Thanks, bro. Yeah, they're fun for me because I get to kick it with you guys and chat, and like I don't have the stress of making content like I do when I have to make a YouTube video. Yep. All right, man. Catch you guys. Peace.